I have here another whiskey, and it's quite a mouthful. Sample: Gordon and MacPhail, Speymalt Macallan, 2001, 20-year-old Speyside single malt Scotch whiskey. This one was sent to me by Catnap G, and it's got a whole bunch of parafilm on the top of the bottle, which I need to get off somehow so I can get to the bottle. He's one of these guys with an obsession for parafilm, and I'm not crazy about this stuff because it's such a pain to get it off of there. But he claims that he likes to see me struggle. So I guess I'll have to struggle to get this stuff off. Ugh. Okay, come on. Get this whole mess off of here. Ah, it's so thick. He put it on so thick. I just don't want to stab myself with this little knife while I try to get this stuff off. Come on. I think I'm getting closer. Closer. I got it all. Look at this great big wad of parafilm. Okay. And here is the bottle without the parafilm on it. All right. Now I'm going to pour this. And while it does some opening up and getting accustomed to being in the glass and so on, I'm going to go through these elaborate notes that Catnap has sent me. Speymalt Macallan, 2001, 20-year-old, 54.6% ABV. From Gordon and MacPhail, because he provided a photograph of the bottle, and I will put that as the thumbnail for this video. It says, I purchased 3 of these bottles last year from craft sellers. I have opened one to enjoy, one to collect, and one to possibly sell. These are always hard to get as they sell out so quickly. This particular expression is very unique, as it was not deeply sherried like the others. So don't be fooled by the lighter color, as you'll experience a rich full-body whiskey, unlike any other in my opinion, and some additional info for your reference. Okay. Oh. Also attach a photo of the bottle. Yeah, okay, yeah, he's done that. So I've got a photo of the bottle. That will be my thumbnail. This sample was poured from a half full or half empty, depending on how you look at it, bottle, which has been open for several months now. I always put a new piece of parafilm around the top of the bottle to seal it every time after use, as I don't want to take the chance with a bottle of this caliber. Rather, it just oxidizes in its own air pocket than subject it to outside factors where it is more susceptible to evaporation, which might be reflective of my OCD, especially with expensive bottles. I have my other 2 Speymalt bottles unopened with parafilm wrapped around the seal, stored in a dark, dry place. Okay. About this whiskey. To my palate, this is the most interesting whiskey. The age really comes through, but I always give it time and water to open it up, or else I find I lose out on all it has to offer. I hope you like it, but hey, if you don't, then don't worry, I still like you. More info on the Speymalt expression. Whiskey base ID number, category, single malt, distillery, Macallan, bottler, Gordon and MacPhail. Bottling series, Speymalt, vintage 2001. Bottled 26th of July 2022. Calculated age 20 years. Cask number 3414. Number of bottles 133. Strength 54.6% alcohol by volume. Size 700 mils. Bottle code 220209. Bar code 50206130930003. Added on 10th of October 2023. 11:26 p.m. by GD Whisky, worth $649 before tax. Oh, cripes. $649.90 before tax. I've never paid that much for a bottle. Never. Wow. Well, Macallan is expensive. We know that. Or at least I'm aware of that. I don't know if you knew that Macallan is expensive. Anyway, so this is quite precious, as there were only $133 bottles of this, and Catnap got 3 of them, and they would sell out really fast. But hey, I'm not that big a Macallan fan, and I don't have to have it. But now that it's been sent to me, I think it's my duty to try this. Thanks, Catnap. I'm going to try this. Yep. Trails of tiny little droplets. I have my handy spoon. And I have the whiskey. It's 20 years old, bottled at 54.6%. Now, is that cask strength? I think it might be. Okay. I'm getting quite a bit of sherry cask influence. Quite a bit. And quite a bit of age too. Now, I'm not that big a fan of whiskeys that are this old. I prefer my whiskey, Scotch single malts, to be typically around 15 years old. Just saying. I'm going to add a little bit of water. A couple of drops there. And we'll see what that does to it. I may be adding a drop or two here or there as I go along. This might be a long video. Because, I mean, at $649 before tax, it commands due diligence, I think. Okay. On the nose, I'm getting sherry cask, but not a young, exuberant sherry cask. I'm getting a sherry cask that has contained whiskey for a long time. But unmistakable sherry cask. And because of its great age, well, 20 years is old enough. Because of that age, It doesn't have any of that youthful exuberance. None of those big flavors that are right in your face. Older whiskeys tend to be less flavorful and more mellow. It could also be that the high ABV causes it to be less flavorful because the high ABV acts as an anesthetic and dulls down the sense of taste and the sense of smell. I am getting a vanilla note with my sherry cask. Now that I added a couple drops of water, let's give it another taste. Mmm. Mmm. That vanilla note does come out on the palate. Oh, nice. Very nice. An independent Macallan from Gordon and MacPhail. And Gordon and MacPhail is probably one of the independent bottlers that I have the highest respect for. I've had some independents that were okay. I've had some independents that were meh. But this is very, very nice. And it's really, I've never really had a bad Gordon and MacPhail bottling. I've not. Mm. Mm. Okay, I get the sherry cask. And I get the Macallan on the nose. And the great age is exemplified by its mellowness. Wow. I don't believe I've ever had a whiskey costing as much as this. Oh yeah. Water brings out the flavor. There's a hint of bitterness along with the sherry cask. Quite a bit of bitterness, but it's not unpleasant. $650 for a bottle. Oh. That's more than the most expensive whiskey I've ever bought. It's very good. It's somewhat spicy. Especially after I've swallowed it. It comes in spicy. Not overly spicy. A little bit of cloves, a little bit of nutmeg, a little bit of different things. On the nose, dark chocolate. Oh yeah, the sherry cask is there, but it's not. It's not a bit of water, a little bit more water. It's definitely mellow. The sherry cask is mellow. Dark chocolate. Oh, I just received an email of some kind. Oh, poo. I don't want to see that. They send me these things that I don't read, and if I unsubscribe, they send me even more. Diabetic tricks. I guess once they get you on their mailing list, they don't take you off. They just keep sending you stuff. YouTube, that is. But I digress. We were talking about this Speymalt Macallan. I mean, it'll do. The more water I add to this, the more bitter it gets. I don't think it needs any more water. I mean, it's good and all, but I would never spend $650 plus tax on a bottle of whiskey. Even if it is rare. Even if there's only 133 bottles in existence. I don't think there's a whiskey worth $650 before tax. It's just not, in my opinion. I mean, I'm usually hunting for bottles that are under $100. Usually. If it's over $100, well, maybe, maybe. But nowadays, I am broke. And it's really hard to make money these days. In case you didn't know, I drive a taxi for a living. And the business is drying up. The last 2 weeks have been the worst, well, especially the last week has been the worst week in about 16 years. It was just like the recession of October of 2008, where there were some nights where I didn't bring any money home at all. And this one, the margin between, the profit margin is getting smaller. It's costing me the same to use the car. It may be costing me a bit less in fuel, but I'm making a lot less. Excuse me. I'm making a lot less money out there. And so I can't afford to buy bottles at the moment. I can't. So this is why I am trying a sample to go public on a Friday. Yeah, I know I usually do them only for Sundays, but this time I've got one full bottle left over to taste. And that will come up on Monday. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do after that. I don't know if I'm going to slow the channel down and only taste whiskey and nose whiskey and taste whiskey when I can afford to buy whiskey. That might bring it down to 1 video a week instead of 4. Unfortunately, I still have a few samples with which to do the sample Sunday, but when those run out, Am I going to receive more samples in the mail from someone? I mean, I did have one or two people promise me that they're going to send me some samples, but, they'll get here when they get here, I suppose. Or they'll send them when they can. I know that I have trouble coming up with postage money for sending samples, and I don't have that much whiskey left. Anyway, I didn't mean to go off on that tangent, but this is a real rare treat. Thank you, Catnap, for the opportunity to try this experience. It's subtle. It's sublime. It's getting a little more interesting. What is that I'm getting? A bit of Turkish delight, perhaps? Yeah, I think there's some. It's like Turkish delight coming on now that it's been in the glass for a little while. In the glass for 20 minutes. Slancheva.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Yeah.